Welcome to An Author Dissects a Narrative with your host, Husna Haze. In this captivating series, we will unravel the intricate tapestries of your favorite movies, TV shows, games, books, and beyond. Prepare to embark on a journey of analysis and exploration as we uncover the hidden gems and profound themes within these beloved narratives. Remember to show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing for a regular dose of insightful content. Let's delve into the realms of storytelling together. Welcome back to the Deconstructed Universe. That's right, we're back. And we're back with Season 3, Episode 4 of House of the Dragon. And it's kicked off. First scene that we see is obviously Ormund Hightower's host taking control of Tumbleton. I don't know why I was so shocked when we saw a bit more of Ormund when he's not very much controlled or in front of people. And I don't know why I just had such high hopes of him being like a decent guy, but instead he's unhinged like the rest of them. But that's besides the point. We'll get into that further down the line. So we see that he's talking to the lady and the Lord of Tumbleton because obviously his host is inside Tumbleton and they're basically sharing people's homes. They're taking people's homes and he's taking control of the keep. So the Lord and lady are like, why are you here? You're sleeping in our bed. You're taking a bath in my bath. Like, what are you doing here? And Ormund is like, listen, I'm fighting for the rightful king. I'm fighting for the rightful ruler to put them on the throne. You raised arms for the pretender queen. And they were like, I have to give it up to them because instead of just cowering away and backpedaling, they were like, because she was queen. Because she is queen. They stood 10 toes and 10 fingers down for Rhaenyra. And I give them props for that. Because imagine in that situation, you're surrounded by an army. You're surrounded by your enemies. They've taken control of your castle. They kicked you out of your rooms. Okay, they've booted you from your rooms. And they're basically like, you're an enemy. You raised arms against me and my allies, and you stand 10 toes down and 10 fingers down with them. Props to them. So we see that, I don't know why we had to get a butt shot of this guy, but whatever. I wasn't very pleased about that, but I don't know why I'm like even shocked because it's something that really happens a lot in this universe. So we see that he's basically got a plan. They're waiting on Aemond. They don't know what happened to Aemond. So they're waiting on Aemond, and obviously they get news that there's no word from Aemond, there's no sign of Aemond or Vhagar. So did you guys catch that side eye that Daeron gave Ormund Hightower? He looked that man up and down and gave him a side eye that read, I can't stand you. And I'm just like, ugh. I feel so bad for Daeron and I feel so bad for Helaena and Jaehaera. And it's so annoying. So we cut to King's Landing, and obviously this is like basically what Rhaenyra's first 100 days in office. It's her first like 2-3 days in office, and already her council meeting is a mess. Corlys has run off. He didn't clock in for work. We don't know where he is. And obviously Maester Orly gets a seat on the council again. So it's just her, Mysaria, and Maester Orly. Corlys has basically clocked out. Now, this is a pattern for Corlys. When things get tough or he doesn't get his way, he goes off and fights the Triarchy. So I don't even know what he would have done if the Triarchy wasn't there as an excuse for him to just go away. He didn't even check in with Rhaenyra and be like, I'm going to fight the Triarchy. He just went. Okay? And I'm just like, Rhaenyra, you need a better council. Okay? Corlys is a hot mess. Ask Rhaenys. Rhaenys been clocked Corlys's messiness. Been told him, like, our son died and you just went off to fight the Triarchy. And I haven't seen you in years. That's Corlys's MO. Which is insane. So out of this small council meeting where the hand of the king did not attend, could you imagine, like, you are like the leader of the country, you've got your president, your prime minister, and your vice president, your vice prime minister, your cabinet member does not turn up to work and doesn't give you a heads up that, like, I'm not coming into work, I'm ill, or something. Just something. Send word. Like, it's not that hard. You're in the same building. You're in the same castle. Send something to tell me that you're not coming into work, that you're not going to be attending. No, you don't say nothing. You just go off, make a decision, and leave. So anyway, out of this council meeting where it's just Mr. Orley, Mr. Orley, where it's just Mr. Orley, Rhaenyra, and the Mistress of Whispers, we see that what comes out of this is basically they're going to divert the host that Daemon has marching towards King's Landing to Tumbleton in order to root out the Hightower host house by house, and then Rhaenyra is also going to send some dragon seeds down there just to, intimidate, and then she's just going to try to figure out what to do with Ormund. And then we've also got her basically saying, like, we need a new Maester of Coin, because obviously they're still broke, they're bankrupt, they're flat broke, so they need somebody to manage the coin situation, and they choose that lord that clocked Rhaenyra's tea. So the job is being passed to Sir Torrhen Manderley, and we're going to see how that goes later on. And then we see Rhaenyra and Alicent having like this scene where she's like, tell me about your cousin, Ormund. And obviously Alicent is like, listen, I don't really know him that well. I came here after my father got the role of Hand of the King. I really didn't spend any time with him. And all I know is that when we were younger, my brother Gwaine was like, he's cruel. But then Alicent's like, but Gwaine thought everybody was cruel. And I'm like, I don't know why I didn't clock this tea, because Gwaine is decent, okay? Gwaine is an alright guy. He hasn't done anything that has been overly, like, shocking or, like, terrible or, like, something that's really made me, like, not like him. He's been alright, decent, okay? So if Gwaine is saying this guy is cruel, I don't know why it didn't compute in my mind that, this guy might be not so great. So far, I thought he was, like, decent. Maybe he was, like, kind of like a Tywin Lannister kind of guy. Maybe, like, a Jon Arryn kind of guy. Like, somebody who is controlled, precise, and fair. I don't know why I thought that, okay? I didn't think that he was unhinged. But anyway. So, we see that they have this whole conversation where Rhaenyra's like, why did you send your son away? Like, Daemon, like, why did you send your son away? And Alicent is like, basically like, listen, like, it's basically toxic here. It's toxic. I gave Viserys, like, all these Targaryens, and this toxic environment. I just wanted my son to be a Hightower. I wanted better for him. I think it's the only motherly thing I ever did for one of my children. And I was like, Alicent, if this is the motherly thing that you did for your children, like, I totally understand where she's coming from. I mean, could you imagine? You're married to Viserys. He's rotting away. Literally rotting away. And you're in the shadow of Aemma Arryn. And your kids are in the shadow of Rhaenyra and her illegitimate sons. And you have a father who's really not really, like, checking for you. And you're just a mother with your children trying to, like, just navigate everything. I feel for Alicent. But that's no excuse for her to be a terrible mother, okay? Some of the decisions that she's made are very much questionable. So obviously here she's just like reminiscing and regretting, like, sending her son away, because she's like, I don't even know what that did to him. Like, I don't know what fate me sending him away, like, gave him. First of all, you sent him away to somebody your own brother said was cruel, okay? And then second of all, like, now you're just like, oh, it's the only motherly thing I did. It's like, Alicent. This is why I really thought, like, Alicent really has a lot of layers, and Alicent really had a lot of layers, and I really wanted to just cape for Alicent, but I had to stop caping for Alicent because some of the decisions and the way she was moving was just, like, annoying the heck out of me. So we see my girl Helena in the back with her daughter Jaehaera. Like, my girl Helena, my girl Jaehaera, I just want the best for them, and Daemon, I want the best for Daemon too. And then obviously we catch up with Corlys, who is basically talking to his son and is like, listen, like, I'm going off to hunt the Triarchy. You need to stay here. There's very much great opportunity here for you. You need to stay and better yourself. And his son clocks his tea and is like, listen, you can't just not be angry just because you're out there hunting the Triarchy. It's not gonna do anything for you. You need, first of all, anger management. And these guys need therapy. Therapy. They need therapy. Say it with me, guys. Therapy. But I don't even know, like, what would you have guys done in this situation if you were in Corlys' situation? Would you have literally, like, said, I'm not clocking into work and I'm just gonna go off and hunt the Triarchy. I'm just gonna go away until this anger, like, that I'm feeling just, like, stops. It's like, talk to your queen, Corlys. Tell her you're not happy. She knows you're not happy already, but, like, tell her, like, you're not happy, like, in a normal conversation, and maybe, make a plan with her. But no, instead you're dropping the ball. You're like, hand to the king, where? I'm going off to hunt some Triarchy. It's like, really, guy? And then we see Aegon. We haven't seen Aegon and Larys in a while. And I have to say, like, when I saw Sunfire, it was, like, crazy. Because seeing, like, these dragons, the true power and symbol of House Targaryen. Do you guys understand that these Targaryens were seen as foreigners? They're basically foreigners that conquered this continent. And the only reason that they held power for as long as they did, and that they were viewed in the way that they were viewed, that they were, not ordinary men, they were not ordinary kings and queens, they were not ordinary people, was because of their dragons. And the symbol for that power, the symbol for the Targaryen house, basically the nuclear codes for Westeros, have now been starting to die out. We've got Sunfire's down, we've got Melee's down, we've got Vermax and all these Taraxes, they're all down. Arrax. Was it Arrax? Arrax. We've got Arrax down. So all these dragons are dying. And then on top of the dragons dying, we've got like nobodies, bastards from Flea Bottom just claiming dragons, dragon seeds. And it's a terrible, terrible decision to give people that you don't know, people that you're not, I don't know, this was a bad idea. It was a bad idea. And now the symbol of Targaryen power is being shown to be weak. Dragons have always been shown to be not invisible, okay? They're not invincible. And right now, they are dying out. And after all this stuff happened, the Targaryen dynasty never recovered from this. And they still went about with that Targaryen arrogance as they ruled. That's why, like, they eventually came to an end. Because now you don't have a big fire-breathing lizard behind you for people to be afraid of. Okay? So we see Aegon, he's very much upset about Sunfire, and he's still very much arrogant. He's on that, he's still got that energy of, I'm the prince, I'm the king, like, screw my brother, screw my sister. Like, he's very much entitled and not grasping the situation that he's in. The situation that he's on the run, it's dangerous on the road, and it's just him and Larys. And he's not grasping that. So we see that he goes up to Sunfire and he's like, Sunfire is still alive. So I'm going to believe what Aegon is saying. I think this episode did a great job of displaying the connection between Dragon Rider and the dragons. And it also did a great job of showing, like, sometimes dragons do their own thing. Like, they're not something that can be controlled. They're not something that can be brought to heel like a dog or a puppy. They have their own emotions, they have their own will, and they only allow the Targaryens, their riders, to command them when they want to. So that was a great episode. So we see, like, obviously Rook's Rest is just in chaos. It's basically full of bandits, and it's the host that Kristen. Is it Kristen? Kristen. I know you guys like to call him Crispy. Crispy called Left Behind. It's not a garrison. It's a bunch of bandits, okay? It's pandemonium. It's terrible. So we see, like, he's dealing with that. And we see that poor Larys is trying to, like, manage the situation. He's trying to manage Aegon, and he's trying to keep them alive. It's like chaos. So we see that eventually Aegon is humbled, and I think, like, maybe this trip that he's had with Larys is something that's going to give him a different perspective on his own mortality and his own, I don't know what the word is I'm trying to use, his own pride. I think it's going to knock him down a few pegs. And I think that's going to be done because when nobody knows who you are, when you don't have a dragon, when you don't have a title, when you don't have an army behind you, nobody really cares who you are. You're just another person in the crowd. And I think that this is going to really shift the way Aegon's character moves forward. And then we catch up with Crispin Cole at Harrenhal, and we see Harrenhal is a hot mess. We see that they arrive, and Alyssa Rivers does not give up where Aemond is. We see that Gwaine and Crispin have a conversation where Gwaine is like, we need to go take our garrison and head to Tumbleton and meet up with my cousin. And we see that Crispin Cole is like, my father died of... was it heartbreak or was it boredom or was it like what did his father die of? His father died of something. Like, he's just being melancholy at this point in time, and I don't care. Like, Crispin, I don't care. Like, instead of getting a plan together, trying to find Aemond, following what Gwaine is saying, you're just talking about your dad and how he died of misery, of heartbreak, of whatever, and you're talking about essentially like, I'm not leaving here because I have nothing left for me when it comes to Rhaenyra. Like, I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna keep fighting. And it's like, instead of like meeting an army head on, we're gonna switch to guerrilla war tactics. Which is alright. It's a plan to switch to guerrilla tactics, but they don't have the men or the number to do it. And did you guys clock that Alyssa Rivers raided? Did you guys clock she raided Sir Simon Strong's closet? She was wearing like his robes. I mean, she looks fashionable. Can we have a side note of Targaryen 2026? What Rhaenyra is wearing? Amazing. Love it. Love it. She does look stylish. I did love her outfit this episode. I have to give it up for Rhaenyra and how she's still like very much gracious to the sea snake essentially and his blood and his family, because when when Alan comes to see her, she's like, I'll see him. She's like very much excited and welcoming, and I'm like, Corlys, I know you're upset, but you're the one that put yourself in this situation. You're the one that forced your son to marry Rhaenyra when you knew your son was gay. Okay? But you were blinded by power and ambition. You were like, oh no, they'll figure it out somehow. As if you're not the reason that Rhaenyra had to resort to having illegitimate children. So we see that her and Alan have like a conversation where basically he's like, my father basically run off. And there's obviously rats everywhere. And he's like, on the ship we had cats. So obviously Rhaenyra's going to implement the cat thing on the Red Keep. Can we just have like a sidebar and just talk about how Rhaenyra was going through Viserys' old stuff and Viserys' model of old Valyria? I feel like instead of Viserys painting and doing whatever this was, his little miniature Valyria model, he should have brought in architects from the free cities and did something about like the sewer problem, buildings, opened up the streets, got aqueducts going. Like, if he was very much into architecture and old Valyrian stuff, he should have implemented some of that stuff into the Red Keep and the King's Landing, essentially, and just like modernize it into something, you know, with roads and aqueducts and bigger houses and, you know, better architecture, better battlements. He could have done so much, but instead he spent his time doing his miniature figurine thing, which is insane. And then we cut back to Aegon and Larys, and we see that for the first time in his life, Aegon has to work. Yes, that's right. He's got a job, and the energy he was giving Nepo baby who's never had to work. He doesn't have his name or daddy's money to back him up. He just has, you know, himself. And I think this also leads to what I was saying about Aegon maybe growing in this journey and maybe becoming a bit more humbled and reasonable and just focusing on like the important things. And then we have the unfortunate we have the unfortunate chance or the opportunity, the unfortunate, it was so unfortunate to see Hugh Hammer's wife basically attempted to be attacked by Ormond Hightower's whole, soldiers. And it's like no discipline at all. So we see that her brother basically steps in and the whole family just steps in to fight and defend themselves. Her sister-in-law gets a broken arm. Her brother gets, like a black eye. And she is basically just... It's crazy. They start fighting. Can you imagine? But why am I surprised that war crimes are happening in Westeros? Why am I actually surprised? So after this whole thing happens, they obviously all go to Ormond Hightower because this cannot be allowed to stand. When this scene happened between Ormond and obviously the attackers, and when he was hearing out what happened, I don't know why I thought like he was like a decent guy, because he actually had like decent rulings. He punished the soldiers for what the wrong they did, and he also like gave justice to them. And I was like, okay, this is great, because like he's being fair. Like he knows like this cannot be left to stand. Like you can't have your army acting like this. You can't have your army doing things like this. And I thought, okay, he's decent. He's a decent guy. He's giving like Lord Stark level fairness and judgment. And I was like, okay, Ormond, I like you. I've been kind of liking you. I don't even know why I didn't clock Daron's whole energy after this. Okay, when he said yes, sire, to his uncle guy, he like had like a little sadness about him. Like, is he afraid of this guy? Like, you guys, I am so upset. I really wanted Ormond to be decent. I really want him to be decent. And then back in King's Landing, obviously we see that Hugh the Hammer is obviously trying to get to Tumbleton because that's where his wife is, that's where his family is. And then we see that Ulf is out here at the tavern just doing a lot. He's doing way too much. He's doing way too much. He's like getting drunk. These are all his friends that are asking him all these favors. He's like paying for everybody's drinks, and it's like, my guy, do you have money? Has Rhaenyra paid you? Because last time I checked, the coffers were empty. And then Rhaenyra and Mr. Orley have this whole conversation where Rhaenyra is just asking about the faith, and Rhaenyra is like, I could just remove the High Septum, and Mr. Orley's like, listen, like, I don't think you want to do that. I don't think you want to do that. Rhaenyra, I don't think you want to do that. You're not on Maegor, the Cruel's level where he literally went to war and to bat with the faith. I don't think you're in such a strong position to do that. I mean, we all saw what happened to Cersei, okay? And we know, like, the people of the Seven Kingdoms really hang tightly to the faith. My girl, I think you need to, like, just put the faith on the sideline and deal with that when you can get to that. Because as of right now, I do not think it's a good idea for you to go anywhere near the faith, okay? And Mesa Orley asked her, like, you wanna hang him? You wanna like one axe him? You want him gone? You wanna put a hit on him? And Rhaenyra's like, no, not that bad. And it's like, obviously she tells Maester Orley, like, listen, you need to give me all the correspondence between Otto Hightower and Ormond Hightower. I need to know like what they were talking about. And then this is like one of my favorite scenes of the entire episode, where we see Daemon and he goes to obviously the Vale and he's talking to the Lady of the Vale. And she's like, listen, like, you gave me baby dragons. I don't even understand why you're here. And he's like, listen, I will let all of that go. I just need some money. And obviously she pays him the money, but we see that when he goes back to Caraxes and, is preparing to leave back to the King's Landing, we see that obviously Caraxes does his own thing. And this is the first time I've seen Daemon not have control over Caraxes. Like, Caraxes will do his own thing. And Daemon is just very much just confused as to why, like, Caraxes is not listening to him. Did you guys see, like, the face that Caraxes had? He was just so pleased with himself that he brought Daemon to his this dragon sheep stealer and his daughter. He was just so pleased. He was just looking at Daemon, like, just happy. Like, I could just see, like, Caraxes under all of that is just a golden retriever. Now, all through that, I couldn't believe how haggard Rhaena looked. And Daemon was very shocked. And I don't know why, like, I'm even surprised that I don't know why I was being so surprised with things I already knew in this episode. Damon is like a deadbeat daddy. And it's crazy, like, because he was around his kids, but he was more concerned about Rhaenyra. He was more concerned about his brother. He was more concerned about power. He was more concerned about everything but his kids. Okay? Like, on the night of his wife's funeral, he was out here with Rhaenyra and, you know, left his kids just to be wandering. And I'm just like so upset about like how Damon is a girl dad. Damon is good with Caraxes. Damon is like sort of good with Rhaenyra. I'm just gonna put my pause on Damon and Rhaenyra's relationship just because like he was backhanding her a few episodes ago. So Damon is not really like a great father figure. But for him to just be a terrible father, like I haven't even seen him check in with Bela. Like, he walked right past her. They haven't shared a conversation. They haven't sat down and talked about anything. And obviously, Rhaena's like, listen, it was an accident. I went over there to help. I wanted to show you that I was helpful. He was like, listen, leave the dragon and go to Pentos with your little brothers and we can just sweep all this under the rug. And he's like... And I really felt for Rhaena when she was like, listen, like, sheep stealer's all I have. You've never really cared for me. You've never really checked for me. I didn't have a dragon. Like, if you don't have a dragon in this family, you're, like, less than. Like, I'm not even asking you to lie to Rhaenyra. I'm just asking you just to leave me alone, essentially. And we see Daemon, I think, has just dawned on him, like, he's really failed his daughters. And instead of trying to figure something out, instead he kills like a random person and brings it to Rhaenyra and is like, here, listen, here, like, I found the Rite of Sheep Stealer. And it's like he wasn't really thinking, because when he brings that to Rhaenyra is very much like confused, like, who is this person? Where are they from? What's their name? Like, where did you find them? She has all these questions that he didn't think through. And the irony is that when he arrives at the small council meeting and he's like, here, like, here's the money and here's the Rite of Sheep Stealer, like, it's all very like confusing, jarring, like, where did you find them? Like, all these questions come up. But before that, he's like, I'm the smart one here, to the new master of coin. And it's like, that's crazy. Like, if you have to announce you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably not the smartest person in the room. This was giving me flashbacks to when Tywin Lannister was basically telling, like, his grandson, like, if you have to tell people, like, you're the king, it probably means that you're not the king. You know what I mean? You're not that powerful. And we see, like, the massive coin is, like, how we thought about taxes. And Rhaenyra dismisses everybody and has this conversation with Daemon. And Daemon's like, listen, like, I just found them. Like, here they are. And Rhaenyra is very much shocked. And then we see he has a conversation with Mysaria. And Mysaria is just clocking his teeth, like, what have you been up to? Like, she's obviously known Daemon for a long while. And she knows he's up to something. I guess when Tristan was talking to Gwaine, he didn't tell Gwaine not to send word to his cousin. Obviously, Ormund gets word that Aemon is not coming, and they don't know where Aemon is, and they're staying at Harrenhal. So we see Ormund has like a whole meltdown. We see Daeron is very much afraid and shaken, and I'm like, what kind of like childhood have you had, Daeron? And I'm just like, I'm so worried for Daeron. I'm just worried for Daeron, because we thought that Ormond had let the other people go, like Hugh Hammer's brother-in-law go, but he hadn't. He makes Daeron off Hugh Hammer's brother-in-law, and I was just like, poor Daeron. Okay, you're asking him to betray his brothers, you're asking him to murder somebody who basically is innocent, was defending themselves, and you made it look like you let him go and you hadn't, and you're just basically like, I've sacrificed a lot to get you here, to get this whole thing here. Like, you need to show me that I didn't do the wrong thing. And I'm like, ugh. I was really rooting for Ormond. I was really rooting for Ormond Hightower, but I cannot believe this, okay? And then we get a shot of my girl Helena. My girl Helena is basically getting changed in the background when Rhaenyra comes to Alicent to give her one of Otto Hightower's rings, and they have like a little conversation. Okay, my girl Helena is a pregnant, and she's a prisoner, and she's... Oh my gosh, I'm really worried about my girl Helena. My girl Helena does not deserve any of this stuff, okay? We've got Aegon out here kissing boots and being humbled to the fullest extent. We've got Daemon out here lying to Rhaenyra, like just lying to Rhaenyra. caught him lying. She was like, who is that? Okay, we've got Hugh Hammer arriving at Tumbleton, and then we've got Sir Ulf the White, being grounded by Rhaenyra, essentially telling him, like, you can't go out anymore, you can't go out to the bars anymore, you can't do anything apart from coming from the Red Keep to the Dragon, okay? That is all you can do now. You can find drink and ale inside the Red Keep. I'm not letting you out your sight. So he's basically grounded and under police escort. And a lot of things happened in this episode. And then we've got my boy Daeron just being... Oh, guys, I'm very, very much upset, okay? This episode, I walked away with, like, literally 3 points. Number 1, Daemon is a terrible father. Number 2, Aegon is on some journey that is going to humble him and maybe switch his perspective and how he moves through, like, life and his story arc. Number 3, we're getting Maelor. We're getting Maelor. My girl Helena is pregnant, and I'm really worried about her. And number 3, Daeron. Oh, that's number 3. Number 4, Daeron. My boy Daeron. And number 4 also, you guys have lost count. Basically, I'm just worried, okay? And Corlys just abandoned everything. You guys, I'm really worried about my girl Helena, and I'm worried about Daeron. Anyway, I give this episode a B. It was a very good episode. Please start a comment, commenting down in the comment section below, and let me know what was your impression of this episode, what you thought about the characters, what you thought, and where you think this is going next. And I'll catch you in the next one. Welcome to the end of the video, and thank you very much for making it to the end. Make sure you check out Vertigo Honor Bound by Blood, the first installment in the Vertigo book series. It is set in 2095 at the heart of the Imperial Champion regime, where Emperor Gregory Champion rules over Earth and the colonies stretching out across the solar system, where there is a virus called the Megavirus that has mutated and changed the political landscape of Earth. This is a story about factions, about coming of age, about the importance of being firm in what you believe in a world where bloodlines matter. What faction are you?